Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon. And I hope everyone's having a great day today. I was a couple minutes late. Sorry, I decided to do a wardrobe change. If you guys can see this, this is a ZeroG Mercury shirt from Fabrico. So needed to change into something that was a little more fitting the stream that we're going to be doing today. Welcome on in, Lost Inc. How's it going? Blue Chocobro, thank you for the subscribe with your Prime. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, happy Thursday. Hey, 3D Medic Vince. Adam, hey, how's it going, my friend? Been a little bit. It's going okay. It's going okay. I apologize for missing everybody on Tuesday. It was kind of a last minute decision based on some prep for a procedure I was having yesterday. I just decided it was going to be better off not trying to stream. I don't want to get into too much because it would definitely be TMI, but yeah, been good. Glad to hear it. So today we're going to start off on the rebuild of Mercury Rising. So if you remember way back, a couple years ago, we did Mercury Rising, which was a conversion for the Ender 5 Plus. That turned it into a ZeroG Mercury, which is the top gantry that turns the Ender 5, which is Cartesian, into a Core XY printer. We then went ahead and did the Hydra mod, which adds the triple lead screw setup. Okay. Then we went one step further, and there's a new mod out called Nebula. Now, I have built Nebula before it was known as Nebula. That was what we would refer to as a tall, warm thing within the Discord, but it was the smaller size ZeroG Mercury 1 that I've taken to Murph a couple of years ago, or actually the last two, not this year, but 2 years previously. So we've built this before. We built it in the smaller size based on extrusions that we got directly from Masumi that I drilled and tapped myself. Hey, Martin, how's it going? Welcome on in, Shrimp Father. So we're going to do a couple of things here. One, we're building the Nebula kit. We've got these Nebula kits. It's an LDO frame. I got this from KB3D. This is all the fasteners and all the goodies that will go with it. We've got the Nebula. Let me pop down here on the bench because it's going to get heavy to keep lifting things up. We've got the bench camera way out of whack. There we go. We've got our box of extrusions. This is the ZeroG enclosure. This is gray. This is a heavy box. This is going to be a heavy frame. Now, let's not knock the coffee over. That would be a bad day. So we've got all of our frame components here. We've got our Nebula kit. This will be all of our, the feet, the bits, bobs, and gubbins, magnets, you name it. It's all in here to get this thing going. Now, we may not use all of these just because what we'll do is we're going to build the frame first. Okay, once we get the frame built, then we're going to bring ZeroG Mercury Rising up here, and we're going to take it apart. As we take it apart, then we will rebuild things up here on the bench. Now, some of the things that we're going to be building up on the bench will be, of course, the Mercury 1, which is the Core XY gantry. But we're going to do an even bigger mod because we've got the CNC cut parts designed by Turtle Crawler, and that will allow us to go to a full CNC gantry setup with 9mm belts. We're going to put a tool head on here that, once again, I can't disclose. Let me take this down before it comes down of its own accord. I keep forgetting I put things on the Ender, the the K1C here, and then it starts shaking and everything falls off. How's it going, Zombie? Welcome in. Hey, Ash, welcome in. Yeah, it's been a while. Hey, Timor. Thanks a lot, Eagle. And happy 4th of July to you all as well. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start getting this stuff out. Like I said, we will use these fasteners, and the next stream in this series will be taking, hey, Dutch dude, how's it going? Long time no see. Long time no see. I feel like I've built one of these before. Way, way, way back when. We built one of these with Masumi cut plans. And yeah, at least now, and let me bring this up, we will be following a guide. Oh yeah, we did. We will be following this nice, pretty enclosure guide. But when we built the 255 version of this, we did it from cut sheets, my friends. There was no fastener guides other than where the blind holes were. There was no instructions on which part to put in first. We just had cut sheets. We send these over to Masumi. We got all of our parts ordered, and away we went. So looking forward to this build, having a guide that we can follow through, and yeah, hopefully having a little bit easier time getting this one built. I am going to go through and just pull all of the extrusions out first, and I'll get those laid off to the side and kind of size order, just like we do with our borons, and then we'll start getting this built. We do have to take a look at these because even though they may be the same physical size, they may have an extra hole here or there that we need to be cognizant of. So for those of you that are wondering if we have Duncan for this epic build stream, not yet. It is coming though. It is coming. Believe it or not, Mrs. Dragon is actually still down at Echovate doing some things down there. Does anybody have any plans for their 4th of July that they care to share with everybody? Trying to get all this stuff out. Yeah, and by the way, guys, this is not going to be a small frame. Remember, the Ender 5 is a pretty big printer in and of itself. It's 370 by 370 by 420. And when you have that size build volume and you're going to add to the top of it for an enclosure, it gets tall real fast. Okay. So I think that's all of the pieces out of the box. And like I said, there's a lot of frame there. And If you have printer frames, you'll know just from the looks of the number of pieces there, it's going to be hefty. And that's before we add the additional metal parts and everything else. So all this is my 2040 over here. We've got 2020s. These are going to be the longer ones. So these are going to be our uprights. Everything else here, I'm going to just try and put out by size. Longer. All right, we're going to start putting some stuff down there. We're going to have to find a good place to put all of this eventually. And you'll want to flip these over just to make sure which ones may have extra holes in them. All right, see those two have extra holes in them? And I know these have holes in them. So, okay, so I think we have everything laid out that we're going to need. Like I said, I know these are my 2020 uprights. Yeah, on the 4th over there, that is true. You know your brother's cookout to watch his home fireworks show, or his town's fireworks show? Nice from father. Probably work. Yeah. I'm off work tomorrow, but I'm probably going to get up and go over to Ecovate and do some stuff over there because I'm not going to be able to go over there at all next week. And next week, Tuesday and possibly Thursday, I won't be streaming most of the next week because we've got a offsite happening. So, yeah, so the end result is going to be a frame looking like this one over here on the right. All the parts, like I said, we've got our parts kit here. We'll dig in as we go through. And the extrusion bomb. We've got 4 really long ones, which are right here. We'll have, 2 of the B's, which will have, let me change camera real fast. Yeah, which will have 1 hole at the top and 2 holes at the other end. So we've got these. These are our B's. C's will be 2 of those, and they're going to have 2 holes at each end. These are the longer size, and they're also going to have 2 holes in the sides. These are going to be our bases. D and E. So there's going to be 4 D and E. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those will be our, those are different sizes. D, 6 or 560 and then 538. Yep, that works. 560, 538. F will be the other 2040s that we have here. And these have no holes whatsoever, but the ends are drilled and tapped. G is this one off size. And then we have 2H, which have the extra holes in them, and then the 3 I's. So that's all of our extrusions here. And like I said, as we go through to do these, we will start putting these in the right spots. So place the 2020 upright next to a 2040 upright in position to position the two M5 T-nuts and two M5x6 button head cap screws. Let me switch the view here, and I'll probably have to, yep. There we go. So what we're going to do here is we've got our four long rails here, and you'll see that we've got one hole on both sides there, and then there's these two holes down here. So these are the holes that we're looking for. We're going to set them like that. We'll just go ahead and get all four of them in that orientation. And we're going to grab our 4 G rails, which is our 2040s with no holes in them. What we're going to want to do is set this next to this, making sure that our ends match up. And we'll need to grab our M5 T-nuts and M5x6 button head cap screws. So what all do we have? We've got M3 T-nuts, some magnets, M5 T-nuts. Really? Five by 8. $12, $14, $18, $10. M5x6. There we go. We'll just grab these out as we need them. What we want to do is get our rolling T-nuts. Well, come on, you. We're going to try and line these up as best we can with those holes. That way, when we go ahead and put in our bolts, they're lined up for the next step, and we just tighten things in without a problem. Just get these put on a couple of turns, and it's going to show sliding this on. And one of the easiest ways, besides pulling out the button head screw, try this again. Now, once we get it here, it's going to be the easiest thing. It's just to stand it up on the bench, and that's going to help ensure that we're nice and flush at the bottom because of our nice work surface. And we'll go ahead and tighten these up. Come on, where'd you go? Where'd you go? I miss you so. Probably where it's better to use a ball head screwdriver instead of standard flathead, or not a standard flathead, but a standard driver. Come on. It's a little bit off, so let me see if I can get it. There we go. There we go. Goes nice and snug. Make sure you're nice and flush at the end there, which we are. And it tells us to insert another T-nut on the 2020 upright, and it's going to be right over here. We're still going to use an M5x6. This will get used later to add the Y gantry on here. So do not forget to get this prepped and ready. There's one. Hey, Waters, how's it going? Are you down at the store still? Repair intake and modeling work. Haven't even gotten to sit down and start on the repairs. That sucks. I'm planning on trying to come down there tomorrow, unless Mrs. Dragon tells me otherwise. What we're working on today is building the frame for the ZeroG. And like I said, we do like that. We stand this up, and that's going to keep both of our pieces nice and rock steady there. And of course, did it move on me or? What did I just do? Hey, Happy, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day today. We are working on building the ZeroG Mercury One frame. This is called the Nebula. This is the new frame. I built one of these a couple years ago under closed beta. We got Dutch Dude in here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Turtle Crawler in here later. I talked to Dutch Dude at Murph a few years back at the very first one, and from there off it went. I built one of these and showed it off at shows for a couple of years. the smaller frame, that is, because the larger frame is kind of a bit more to move around. It's going to be a lot bigger. I mean, the build volume on a Ender 5 Plus is 370 by 370 by 420, so that gives you an idea of size. And then add to it, like I said, the top hat that gets added on when you do this enclosure, and it's a pretty big printer. Like, for me to transport this, it's not going in the truck. It'd have to go in Miss Dragon's car. Yeah, sorry, did I say Murph? I did it at the very first Remurph, was where I ran into Dutch Dude and talked to him about this, and got in on the shenanigans and built did my thing, ordered everything from Masumi based on the cut sheets, and built myself one. On the roof. Yeah, I figured I'd see a turtle crawler in here eventually. How's it going, Turtle? I hope you are doing well. Oh, it got shifted ever so slightly when I did that. Oh, there's a saying there. There we go. Who is demanding attention? Yes, I will be at Earth, otherwise known as 3D Printtopia. So, talking about 3D Printtopia, we have got Echovate coming. That whole crew is going to be coming along. And in talking with Chris, we are going to be down on the main floor next to Echovate. Being Digital Dragon 3D will be down on the main floor next to Echovate. So there should be quite the spread there. If everything goes well, I should be able to have a couple of cool printers with me. We'll, of course, have a auto eject. And yeah, I'm hoping that I can get with Makesh either this weekend or early next week. Once again, around my little offsite that we've got going on for work. Yeah, I'm going to tweak on this a bit. I just feel like it's not sitting fully flush, so we'll make that happen. Where'd you go? You want this to be flush at the bottom, not at an angle. And I did just put that in an angle. And you also want the side completely flush. That's why I'm coming back and putting this down on the workbench to make sure that the two sides are definitely flat to one another. If you assemble this frame and take your time assembling the frame, this thing is going to be square as square can be. And like I said, it's going to be a chunky little thing or a chunky big thing. But it will give you very good performance. And I've got a surprise up my sleeve. So once again, we're doing Turtle Crawler's 9mm belt mod to this. And we're also, well, darn you, as I click down on this, it moves forward ever so slightly. We're also going to use some Kraken motors to drive those 9mm belts. So I think I've got a spare 48-volt power supply down there, and if so, we'll be driving the carriage using 48 volts. Do a little bit of rocking and rolling. But this printer, I have been very, very happy with the ZeroG Mercury project. This was my, or has been my go-to for printing full helmets. And yeah, I can see many, many more helmets coming out of this. You have a couple of builds coming with you. Very nice, happy. Yeah, Murph. 3D Printopia is probably the closest trip that we have. So that's the one that I tend to try and bring more stuff to, just because it's easier to get stuff to that show. Shorter drive. And now that we've got the two vehicles and we're starting to realize how much we can pack in the Forester, I think it's going to get a little bit easier to bring some things. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. Damn it. And like I said, we're going to have plenty of room between Ecavate's booth and our booth. I'm not sure, like the automated stuff will most likely be at the Ecavate booth, but we may have both. We may have mine and theirs because they're going to have one too. So we'll have a couple that we can have on display. All right, I'm going to take these and scoot them out of the way, because I know I'm going to need to get these out of the way as well. Okay, what's next? We've got all 4 of these done. Now we're going to put some sections together. Now, I think what we're going to do is it says start with the front section of the frame, install blind joints using the images on this page. Notice that the 2040 uprights only get 1 blind joint. If you try to add the second, it will make assembly of the frame much harder. So I think what I'm going to do is do the bottom section first. Then we'll start adding some uprights. So I'm going to take these, set them right off to the side. We'll need our 2 bottom sections, which once again are these ones. Once again, you've got your, you've got your 2 holes at the 2040, but if you flip it over, you've got 1 hole here and 2 holes down here. This is the back side. So I'm going to set it up with the back sides facing away from me. And I need the eye. The eye is 538 millimeters. So that was these ones. Let me do some quick rearranging here. Okay. 538, we'll double check that just to be certain. .538 on the nose. Okay. So we're going to be setting it up like so. And then we'll be able to build the uprights right on top here. So to do this, we're going to do blind holes on each side. Does it call out which? Does not call out the actual screw size here. But I've only got 2 more of the M5x6. So we're going to set that aside. And I believe we're going to grab, we got, those are 3s, 3s, 3s. 5x10s, there's 7 of those. 3s. 5x10, there's 73 of them. I have a feeling we're going to be using 5x10s here. Well, 5x8s, there's 14. And 5x10s for the blind joints. Okay, because here it was calling for M5x6s for doing these, but on the blind, okay, because these are not going all the way through. These are just going into T slots. That's true. So M5x10s for the blind joints. Manual probably needs to call that out. And these are blind joints. Yeah. These are blind joints, so we should technically be using Loctite. I have in the past used Loctite on things going into the things going into T-nuts, but it's really not necessary. So we'll go ahead and get some Loctite on these. You Loctite the T-nuts up there as well? Now you tell me that. After I got them all nice and neat, now you're going to tell me that. You talking about from the bottom up, or you talking the 2040s to the 2020s? Okay. We're going to do the old trick. We're going to take one of our extrusions and set it at the bottom. We're going to take our 1, 2, 3 block and hold that in there. That way we're locking this in. And we'll be able to come in from the side and make sure that everything lines up and we get this pulled tight and it's flush all the way around. Then we'll do the same thing over here, maybe moving this over slightly. Yeah, it says gray. It may just be a gray and not the space gray, because it doesn't say space gray, it just said gray. Okay, so we've got the base started here, and now Turtle Crawler's got me wanting to loosen these back up and go put some Loctite on them. So we'll do that real fast. It does not look like anything got moved out of place. Um, it's not the lighting. This is definitely it. Like I said, it just said gray, not space gray. So if it helps, go ahead and do this one as well. Trying to think if I got anything else that's in space gray. And I don't think so. Now the question becomes, should I just do these two first and then do the other two later? Or should I do them all now? Okay. So we've got the two done there. Now we're going to go ahead and get our bottoms going, which means we need to put in two of our M5x10s at the bottom of these frames. We'll get some Loctite on these, get them going. And one thing to remember, your brain fart. Your 2020 goes on the outside, your 2040 is on the inside leg of that. And I can see Turtle Crawler probably smirking right now. No, maybe not. Maybe not. So the thing to understand is your let me get this set up. Okay. 2020, 2040. That means you've got three holes down here. This hole is going to be over the top of that 2020, and there's no blind hole in that, right? You can't put another blind hole in that. So these two, so one of the 2020 and one side of the 2040 are the ones that are going into the bottom plates here. Same thing on this side. So we actually need to put the bolts in the right hole, because this one, even though it's threaded, won't do me any good. So let's go ahead and get a little bit more Loctite on there. Okay. And so the way we're going to be looking at this, my front face is going to be down on the table. Okay? Front face, down on the table. Lift this up. Front face, down on the table. Put that side in. Put that side in. And we're going to do our standard. We're going to grab one of our 2020s. Push this over a little bit. We're going to use a 2020 to keep that side and our, whatchamacallit, to pull everything nice and tight. And we're going to screw these in from the bottom. Scooch things over. We'll do the same thing over here. We're going to slide this over slightly so that we can get our extra leverage over here. We're going to basically squeeze everything together. And then we'll start to tighten these up at the bottom. Now, by doing it this way, we've just ensured that this front face is nice and flat. Now we can set this whole thing up and we can work on the front cross member. Probably move some things around out of the way. So we just flip this around so that the front cross member is towards us. We're looking for the E, which is another 538 millimeter size bar. That one's short. Couldn't be. And this fit. This is the other bar that we're going to use. We need to go ahead and get our nuts in on each side, or nuts in. Our M5x10s on each side. Hey, Pete, how's it going? Yeah, it's definitely not the lighting, I don't think. I mean, it's... no matter which way I turn this, I'm getting light on it, but it's a lot lighter, I think, than the space gray frames. Now, here's where I'm going to have a problem. This is way too tall. So let me go main screen here. This is way too tall for this size bench. I really need to be building this on a much bigger bench. So, E. Oh, you know what I did? E is at the top, I is at the bottom. I have the wrong one down here on the bottom. Dang it. I need 498 at the bottom. That's why everything looked way off. Okay, well, fun times. Easy enough to fix. We'll leave this one here with its pre-done up screws. We'll grab a couple of screws and put in this, and we'll move That one to the top and that one to the bottom. So the reason I'm saying that would be kind of a pain is if I do the top first, it's going to cantilever a lot of weight this way off the front of the bench, and it just won't work out well. So we're going to get this prepped, and we get to undo some things because we need to take the bottom pieces off. We now need to take these pieces off so we can get to these screws because these screw heads are now in the way. So we'll have to do a little bit of extra work here. Will they? I don't think I can get in there. Maybe I can. Aha! We can get in there. Once again, this is going to become the top piece. Here we go. Where are we going? We're going this way. Okay, crisis averted. Now, like I said, I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to be able to turn this around and do the top that way. So what we're going to kind of do is loosely work the top, and then we'll square the top up once we get over, or once we're done. We can flip this whole thing over and work on squaring the top up one by one. Okay, so we've got the setup like we see on the screen. Whoops. We got our top bar in, which you can't see right now. Where we at? Yeah. So here's our top bar. It's guided by hand, tightened up. So once again, we will get this fully squared up when we can flip this thing fully over on its back. Okay, next up, we're going to turn this around and we're going to do the other two sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get these redone with some Loctite. And I don't know why this thing keeps getting so twitchy. I'm going to get these done up with some Loctite, and then we'll go through and add these on. Hey, Timor, how's it going? Thank you for the Prime sub there, my friend. So, Pete, how are you doing? Who all is going to be going to 3D Printtopia in a couple of months? And I can't tell you how nice it is to say in a couple of months. Because, goodness gracious, it got quick between Remurf and Murph this year. And I went from, I'm just doing maker coins to maker coins, a box turtle build, the auto ejects. Like everything creeped up on me. And we're going to be working on some more auto eject stuff coming up. I'm hoping that Mukesh is going to be able to come out here sometime next week. And we'll be able to spend some face-to-face time getting mine calibrated, getting another one going, at least one more. And we're going to start building some kits to send out to some initial beta testers. And that'll be nice because I know we need as many people as possible giving feedback so that we can make that a better product. I'm really excited for it. I know, what's his name? K2 Kevin is excited for his. He's chomping at the bit. He's already redone part of it. Or you guys are sitting here just looking at the glare off my bald head. Okay, so both of those are done. And we're going to want to do the same thing we did before. The only difference is now we're going to have a lot of cantilevered weight at the top. So we're going to probably have to look at slightly different way of doing that. think that way is going to be like one side at a time, laying it down this way. So like that. Make sure you line up your end in the same direction. We're going to have to put in our M5 by 10 screws with some Loctite again. And remember, you're going into the long 20/20 edge, and then what's going to mount to the middle. And then when you realize that that's at a slight angle, you don't put that in until you fix that. Okay. Now, as I was saying, you go into the 20/20. In the longer edge 20/20, and then the middle of your 3 holes there, which would be the right side or the 20/20 side of your 20/40. And then this is going to stand up with the 20/20 down, the 20/40 up. And we'll slide that in. We'll grab a rail to put on the outside, our 1, 2, 3 block. We'll tighten everything up. Making sure that we're squishing everything together as we go so that we're nice and flush. And then we're going to kind of flip this over and do the next piece. I really, really, really need a bigger build table. Which will happen sooner or later. If I can get the plane project out of the garage, that'll free up some space. And we'll be able to set up a studio down in the garage. Okay. So once again, we're going to take our rail, put it on one side, 1, 2, 3 block on the other, kind of squish everything together. And we will lock these down. Okay. Hey, Bearded Printer, welcome on in. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for the raid, my friend. Okay, next up, we need to put this up on all fours and try not to take out the camera in the process. And it wants us to do the four tops on our thing here. So let me go back to the main view, because once again we're going to be putting these in just by hand, which means they're probably not going to be right. But we're just going to try and get these in initially, and we will, once we get a couple more things in, we will be able to flip this over onto its head and get everything straightened out like it should be. For now, we're just trying to get the structure together. But yeah, welcome on in, Bearded Printer. How are you doing today? Oz1287, welcome in. Oh, there's a Pez Liz in there too. Hey, Pez. How are you doing today? So we've got our other E in, and we need a D, which is 560. 560. 560. Which one's 560? Not that one. Means I wonder if it is these two. That would be them. So these would be our other two that we're going to use, and that means nothing to you guys. So we're going to use these two, which are 560 millimeter links. We're going to get some more of our M5x10s and our Loctite, and that's going to make our top crown. Once again, it's not straight, it's not square, it is just literally being held together just tight enough, snug enough, so that it's not going to fall apart. And what we're going to do is get the bottom uprights in, or bottom uprights, the bottom stringers in, and then we'll be able to turn this over and square up the top. So I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome on in. This is going to be a fun little build. Like I said, I built this frame before, but I did it in the smaller size under the beta program. So that was my other ZeroG. I was able to show off the frame. We built the frame and built the ZeroG. It works great. We take it to shows. But I wasn't able to actually show the cut sheets or talk about anything much more than that. But now I can show you the cut sheets. I can show you the the whole frame itself. So and the way I am doing this, I am only doing it this way because I don't have a big enough table. If I had a big enough table, we would be doing some other stuff to make sure that this was nice and square and everything as we were building it out. As it stands right now, there is only so much that I can, oh crap. I did not, and you just scared me as you were coming up. Woo! Okay, 1 second, folks. Hey, love you. Mrs. Dragon just brought me my Dunkin', so kind of scared me a bit because I wasn't expecting her, and not that that's her fault, but just kind of scared me a bit. Okay, so top is tight enough just to hold us in place. Now we need to do our Y extrusions here, okay? These are the ones that will go side to side, and these are slide in Y-axis 2020 extrusions, making sure the end with the 2 holes is at the back. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this around because right now this is the back. I'm going to turn this around. Okay. And we need the 600 millimeter size, which I believe to be these ones. We'll double, triple, quadruple check. They are. And once again, one end has 1 hole, the other end has 2. We're going to put it in with the holes not facing up and down, but side to side, because remember, this is where we put our screws in. Let me see if we go to the main view here, if this helps. It would. So we'll bring this down some. Okay, we've got our screws right here and here. So once again, the back is to me. We don't have the rear frame in here yet. So we're going to take these so that we'll have access to the screw holes. And slide our extrusions in. Now, I'm going to take my 1, 2, 3 block, hold it up against the back here, and push from the back with my thumb and just pull some tension in with my fingers while pushing down. And we'll tighten that. That way we should be flush with the back, and we should be all the way down on top of this. I'll go ahead and do the other side over here, making sure that I'm sliding it in with the 1 hole at the front. Maybe. There we go. Same thing. We're going to take our 1, 2, 3 block. We're going to press on it from the back. We're going to pull this tight and down using our fingers. He's trying to lock everything in place here really well and snug. Is this going to be another 5-minute build? No. This is going to be a multi-session build, bearded printer. Yes, Mrs. Dragon just made it home, and she brought me my Duncan. So this is, I know it's smaller than usual, but it is 7:30, which is when she said she was going to be home. So we need to get to the other side here and get those locked in same way. Do the push-pull thing. So we have the option. We can turn this whole thing around and then probably turn it around again to work on the back. Or I can walk around. I think I'm just going to turn this around for now. Once again, I'm trying to do as much as I can sitting on my surface so that I know that I have at least a good flat level surface to be building on. One feels like it's not coming fully back. Not that it feels, it literally is not. So how can I correct that? If you lay that down, it's got to be on both sides. There we go. That solved my problem. Okay. So we've got our two Y rails in. Now it wants us to prepare that subframe. But before we do that, can I can. I think I'm good to go here, that I can try and at least get these tops a little straighter. We'll just work our way around one side at a time. And I just really whacked the top camera, so that's going to be fun later on. What is going on? Okay. Let me see. I thought I just saw something. Oh, gotta get you some. The problem isn't the giant slabs of flat granite. The problem is a larger table that I can put the slabs of granite on. See, that's the problem. Is my workbench is like a little over 2 feet by 4 feet, and what I need is more like the 4x8 like you got down there at the shop. That would give me plenty of room to work with. That's why at some point we should be able to get something going in the garage. Right. And why right now, what I'm going to wind up doing is using the kitchen counter as a stopgap. And this has an issue in it still. So I got to do one more flip. Back to the original side. That's okay. We're going to do good. We'll check it here in a second. Because we're going to take this off now and we'll set it down on the ground. As we run out of room. Okay. So that's right behind me. Now what we need to do is build an H-frame. Yeah, like I would build this on the table there at Ecovate. Just I thought about it, but then it's how do I get it home? And the answer would be I don't know if it would get in the truck through the doors like I normally do. So we'd have to put it in Miss Dragon's car or something. Okay. So we're getting ready to work on the Hydra subframe. So this is the rear pillar that whoops, come on, resize. There we go. So this is the rear I-frame that makes the rear linear rail guide. Okay. So we need one at 510 and two at 498. And the two at 498 have the holes in them right in the middle because that's where this is going to be the top and the bottom. And then this one is going to be the upright. This should be the 510. We'll double check that. Should be because all the others are 498. Yep. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do some M5 by 10s. By the way, I love this shirt. A cute little guy. How's it going, RC Maniac? Beep, boop, boop, beep. Thank you for the follow, Geek Boy. Welcome on in. So this is going to be an enclosed printer. So, you know, with heat, with some motion, it's going to stand the chance of loosening up over time. So we are going through and putting Loctite on, which also means when we go to put our rails on for our linear rails, that we will Loctite those as well. Now, here's the one thing. It shows the subframe being prepared. There is an opportunity for this to be square, but not even. So let me say that. There's the opportunity that this be square, but not perfectly even and centered. It's just, well, I was going to say a fact of life, but I mean, that is the possibility, is that we get this, good gracious. We get this on there, we get everything tightened down, and we might be perfectly square, but we might be like a partial millimeter off to one side or the other. Is this where we tack things with the metal fab? I don't know. Who has a metal fab? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and measure this out with the Mark 1s here. $239. $239 and $239. So we are indeed spot on there. You might be getting one. That sounds like, what's that called? A humble brag? Come on, there we go. So I'm just getting it semi-tight, and I know if I'm 239, then I'm good for both sides. And that is 239. So we are spot on good. Like I said, there is a chance, there is a little bit of wiggle room in these holes. The holes that are drilled through here are not the exact size so that it's only going to go in, because these are different sizes. So you do have a little bit of chance that it could wiggle one side or the other. Kind of like it felt like it just did. So let me see if I just screwed myself up. No. Where does it feel? So it feels like it keeps raising, and I know why. It's because of the, you do it this way. Keeps going from level because it's cantilevering off the end of the bench, which you guys can't see because so when you get to the skirts on the 370 build, there are two sets of skirts to pick from, full and short. The short is for 24-inch deep workbenches. Full needs a bit more depth. Okay. So I am 20 and 5/8 between the metal supports front and back. If I go front to back, I'm at 22. So either way, it doesn't stay up here. It goes downstairs onto a bigger table. That's kind of my only issue with it, is it can't stay up here because it does not fit on this table. And I know that. That's why I need to get some different setups going. I'm probably going to make some 30-inch deep benches that will be out in the garage. The short skirt is the same footprint as stock. Okay, I was planning on just doing the full tall skirts, but okay, now we're going to slide this in and place it, and it's 40 millimeters from the back edge of the frame. Okay, let's repeat that. It's 40 millimeters from the back edge of the frame. So when you get our frame back up here, we'll get this out of the way. We're going to go ahead and get our M10 screws going. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't printed any of the other parts. Because I know the gantry is going to be the all metal, so there shouldn't be too many printed parts in that, if any. And then the skirts and stuff, I just haven't started printing. So I got to go through and print all that stuff. You need the short ones to fit your workbench needs. Okay. Well, I'll have this. I'll have the Riff 600 that's also sitting down behind me. And I'll have, what else? The Trident 350. So having a bigger bench is not necessarily a bad thing. Now the problem is once I sell my plane project and get my room back in the garage, um, I'll need to get my brain to function again. We'll need to go through and do a little bit of work in the garage just to insulate the other two outer walls and just get some things ready. So once again, this frame needs to slide in, and it's going to slide in underneath and right above this these upper rails here. So over and under. We'll see how good the tolerances are here. Row. Whoop, there we go. We're going 40 millimeters, so it's not that far. We need to go ahead and let's see, let's do that. We'll do this. Oh, where's the hole? Do, 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 do. Love the hole. Go find the screw head. There we go. Found it. Now, once again, we need to be 40 millimeters. From the back edge of the frame. Then I'm at 45, and this thing is banking on my thing. So is 40 the correct? Gotcha. So we may have slightly different number requirements here. For now, I'm going to make sure that we're square. Oh. All right, so those are fairly well tightened up. We are 45. And 45. So the bottoms are locked in at 45 millimeters, showing square according to our 1, 2, 3 block. So now we'll need to get our tops done as well. And I'm just going to lightly snug these. Why are you being a pain in the butt? Okay. We are square. We are straight up and down. And we are locked in. 45 millimeters for all four. So there's another update, Turtle. If you're making a list, install the final rear 2020 extrusions. So this will go down at the bottom and at the top right here. Okay? You're opening the file now to add a note? Awesome. Or actually, I take that back. We're not doing both these because one's going to be the gantry. So we just do the one at the bottom. And then it says spend time squaring up the frame. That's where we just sit down and we start taking measurements. We're going to measure corner to corner, corner to corner, and make sure that our frame is as square as it can possibly be. Because if it's not, that's where we're going to run into an issue. Okay. So the way that we're going to do this is we're literally, wow, that's not going to work. Um, we're literally going to measure from the lower left to the top right. I'm going to do that on each side, and we'll look at it a couple of times if we need to. Now, what I normally do is I will quote unquote burn a centimeter, which I will not be able to do. So we're going to have to. Okay, the rear is fully the same. Now, I believe it's deeper than it is wide, so I want the front to match up and be the same exact number. So I'm going to pick this up and turn it around. And we're going to look for the same exact number, once again, going from the very bottom corner. And I'm measuring to the inside corner of the 2020 joint. Just because it's just barely over a meter corner to corner. And the fronts are both the same. Now we'll turn this sideways. And we'll do the same thing on the sides. So we know that we're not racked side to side. Now we're going to see if we're racked front to back. The frame is massive. Whoops. Okay. I've got 987, 988. So something is a little askew front to back here. And let me flip this over, because if you remember right, we did not reset the top, I'll say. like this. So my tops may not be completely flush, which is what I'm going to do right now, is to make sure that these are completely flush. Because that could be where my millimeters off, where my tops might be not flush with the uprights, and meaning um my brackets may not, or may be at a slight angle. And yes, like I said, this frame is pretty darn massive. Um, okay. Now with that done, we'll go ahead and set this back up on its base. And we'll do our measurement again. .988 and .988. Oofed. .988, .988. So that just fixed our squareness issue. We should be square on all four sides, which means our tops should be square. Our top and bottom. If the sides are all square, the top and bottom should definitely be square. We'll double check. Yep, we are square. And yeah, this frame's massive. Like, I mean, yeah. All right, we are square. So to give you guys an idea, we'll go ahead and do it in inches. We are just about 22 3/4 inches side to side. 23 5/8 front to back. And it'll be a close guesstimate because of the carpet. $32 1/4 tall without the skirts, and the skirts are going to add a couple of inches. So pretty darn big. What is next? Love it. It talks about panels. We're not putting a panel on this thing until we get everything else built. But, yeah, let me. So, full display view. Where I can put a top on that and make that a workbench. So we're full display view here. We've got our laser cut or CNC cut door, 3mm 1/8 stick, acrylic or polycarbonate, 435 wide, 644 tall. Bomb per door hinge assembly. Talks about how to do the door hinges, the door closures with the various magnets in it. The side and back, all three are the same size. Now, all three are the same size for the smaller one. The doors have had some updates. Yes, on the smaller one, there is a single door. On the larger one, I think it's a dual door, kind of like the Voron. Like I said, the top here is saying that it's square. We are 22 3/4, or basically 22 and a, about 22 center line to center line of the extrusions. Yeah, this is not square. So we are deeper. So this is obviously these dimensions here, I think, are from the smaller size, not the larger size. So these dimensions are not correct. But we'll come back up here at the top and you'll see on the 255, it looks like a single door. On the 370, the door handles are on the middle. That makes it a dual door opening. I'm going to have to start printing parts so that we can put the skirts on, because we'll want to have, well, you know, I think what we'll do is on the next stream, we'll build the top gantry, or the gantry. I'll have to use CAD and stuff like that, because I'm using Turtle Crawler's CNC metal parts. In fact, give me a second and I will go downstairs and grab those, because for whatever reason, I did not. So bear with me one moment. There we go. So we've got a lot of stuff. We've got our CNC metal parts. These will be the gantries. There's 6 pieces, so we have a top, a bottom, and a middle piece on here. So we got those. These will be the X and Y joiners. We've got some little aluminum spacers, some pens, some 5mm pens, some more fasteners, some other aluminum spacer rods, a bunch of different sizes of screws and bolts and stuff. Was there, I guess this is the XYs and the front idlers as well, right? Yeah. These will be the XY joiner blocks. And then these will make up the front idlers. They still have the machining tabs on them, so I need to kind of sand these down or file off the burrs a little bit. And I'll probably deburr all the holes just because I didn't pay for the extra cleanup. So I'm going to do the extra cleanup. We've got the right bearings. We've got 9mm belt. And everything else in here that we should need to do the upgrade. Like I said, we'll be following CAD for doing the upper gantry edge. Hey, buddy, I'll call you after stream, please. Now, the one thing you'll notice is these fasteners are black. These are not. That's probably going to bug me. I don't know how much I'm going to let it bug me. We'll see. But like I said, I just need to clean up these little burr edges here that you can see. Those were the tabs. I'll clean those up. I'll deburr all of these holes because there are burrs in them. We want those to be nice and clean. And yeah, we'll get these squared away, cleaned up. I have all the tools to do that. And yeah, we'll get rid of all the sharp edges. And I'll start figuring out what I need to print to get on, and we'll start getting that stuff done. Like I said, I think I'm going to do the top portion first, which means we'll have to bring Mercury Rising up to steel the linear rails, and basically we'll have to take the top gantry apart of that so that we can steal the linear rails off of it, because I'm not buying new linear rails. And yeah, we'll slowly tear one down and build the other one up. We'll put the Hydra stuff in, but the last thing we'll do is add the bed, because that's just going to add additional weight that does not need to be there. But at this point, folks, I think I've hit the stopping point. We've got, yeah, let's do this. We've got our frame done. Now, mind you, once we put the skirts on, it's probably going to be up here, right? This thing is massive. I mean, we've got the V-core there, right? So if I take this and put it next to the V-core, try and line it up bottom to bottom, this is taller than the V-core without skirts or feet. Taller than the V-core. Hey, Clown Hammer, how's it going, my friend? You're about to pass out? Well, go get some sleep. Go get some sleep. We'll, like I said, I need to do some cleanup on parts. God darn it. Sorry. Let me get there we go. Hi. How's it going? We don't have anything right in our line of view. We need to do some cleanup of some parts. Wow. I just realized how bad that floor looks back there. We need to organize the Dragon Den some. There we go. And we're going to. I've got some more filament coming in from Bamboo Lab. Specific colors, dark gray and gray, because we're going to be printing out some K2 stuff for some organization, and we're going to get that stuff done. And then we're going to just start really cleaning up and moving stuff around here little by little. Hey, Chewy, how's it going? So, Chewy, we just finished building the Nebula frame. Let me go ahead and get rid of these things. Don't mind this. I've only hit it like 4 times today. But you ready for this? Here's the frame, the Nebula frame for the Ender 5 Plus size ZeroG Mercury One. It is taller than the V-core and almost as wide as the V-core. The V-core 4. Sitting down without the skirts, it is, well, with the skirts, it's going to come right up to my belt. Once we get the skirts printed and installed, we're going to have to do that stuff. Yeah, it's gray. It's not a space gray, but it's gray. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at tonight. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Next thing, like I said, when we come back, I'm going to work on deburring these. You can see the tabs right there on these edges. And there's a couple of machining tabs on here, and I need to deburr all the holes. That's not a sink cut send thing. That is a me thing. Everything that you, like, I could have had them deburr and clean up all the edges, and they would have charged me more for that additional processing. That stuff I can sit there and do while I'm in meetings or stuff like that, provided those meetings are here where I can take them at the house. And I'm not actively presenting. And once again, when we rebuild this, we are going to be using, good gracious. We're going to be using Kraken Motors. Sponsored by our folks over at West 3D. So we're going to have some Kraken motors in here, at least for the A and B. There's no sense in putting anything like that in the Z. Your Z is not, you're doing one layer height, 0.2. There's no need to get huge active on the Z. We are not doing an all-wheel drive setup here, but we are going to go much, much sturdier frame. CNC gantry parts, so the whole top is going to be CNC. Turtle, I don't believe there is a CNC. There's not CNC mounts here for the Hydra, right? Or are there? God, I hope not. I might have to go get those too. Because you have an SLM's Hydra setup. Of course you do. Of course you do. Damn. Okay. SLM arms add 20 millimeter of Z travel because they don't have to be as thick. You might know a guy who can machine them for you. Is that you, Chewy? Around $100 for the SLM arms, 2 weeks from China. Is that like PCB or? Because actually, I'm assuming they're different than the printed parts. So, do you have the SLM versions that you would be willing to share? You sent me the link on Discord. Thanks. Use N3D Tech for SLM. Okay. Yeah, I'll see. I'll talk. I'll try and look at a couple of things to see if it's something that I can get done here semi-locally. Because if you've got the drawings, the question is how much would it be to have some CNC'd at a local shop versus SLM printed. Well, there's no local option for SLM. Is there a local option for CNC, and what are they going to charge me for CNC? It's not really CNC friendly. Yeah. Well, I know a guy that's got like, what is it, a 6-axis Swiss? But he's got other parts to make first. I can't be bugging him for one-off jobs. Yeah, I'll take a look at them, and I'll try and make a decision. Oh. The good news is, for the most part, it's pick up out of one, put in the other. As far as all the electronics, all of the, the Hydra stuff, just if I go with different arms, I get different arms. That's no big deal. We'll be working on this for longer than 2 weeks, because next week I'm probably not going to stream, or at least not Tuesday and Wednesday for sure, because I've got dinners with the leadership team. We're doing a leadership offsite for FY26 planning, so I will be tied up Tuesday and Wednesday for sure. Thursday, I don't know what we're going to do Thursday. It may be streaming this, it may not be. I'll just have to see how things go. But yeah, I will tell you this though. Miss Dragon is enjoying her new printer. For those of you that aren't aware, Miss Dragon now has her very own P1S named Dragonfly. Forwarded the top post from that thread on the SLM arms. Okay. And she's she's doing pretty good at starting prints and getting prints done by herself. So, there we go. Thank you, Pez Liz, for chatting with her some out at Merce so that we can get that done. Now I just need to get rid of a few more printers or get some space for yeah, if I can get the space cleaned up in the garage, we may get some stuff moved out there. But there's got to be some work done in it to clean that up too. But okay, folks, that's all I've got for you right now. Let me see where our raid target for the night's going to be. And does anybody have any suggestions? I saw a Polymaker running earlier. Shenanigans is driving. CyberJules is working on the Daft Punk helmet. Pretty cool. Way Cool Woods up and running. Additive Adam's getting ready to start soon. Somewhat new streamer. Additive Adam is doing a Rook 2020 build. We might give him another couple of seconds or minutes and just chat here because he had popped in here earlier and he's recently started streaming, so I want to jump out there and join him. I know CyberJules is out there. All right, thanks, Timur. And Pezliz, I did see the thing that you sent me, and yes, sounds like a good plan for me. You do like a good Rook build? Yes. I do too. And apparently I might have to be building another one because I got scolded for trading out my Rook for some parts. One of the other things, if I am waiting on parts for the Nebula or for the ZeroG to either be printed or either getting them printed or getting SLM parts in, what have you. We do have Zera's Micron build to work on. So I've got to sit down, go through, inventory everything that I have. He does have a couple of mods that he wants done. So it's going to be a Micron with mods. And the reason he gave it to me is he was working on it as the Micron. And then when they came out with R1, there's not a complete manual. And we came across that when we did our Micron build, where it's not a complete manual. And so there's a good portion that's going to have to be done based on CAD. Kind of like we'll do on the ZeroG here, as we continue to go off script. So he reached out to me, asked if I would build that for him, and I said, sure. It's going to be content. The only stipulation there is it's going to have to be done for 3D Printopia because that's where I'm going to take it back to him at. Now, the good thing is that Micron should be able to fit inside this beast that we're printing right now, so we should be able to pack it in there for transport pretty easy. Wow. Let me get a couple of things put over here before I knock a bunch of stuff off of my desk. Okay, those go there, that goes there. Hey, funny enough, there's my ZeroG serial number. So I am 2.1.14. I think this is the this isn't the big one, this is the smaller one. Because the 2.1 was the that was the I'll double check. I think this might be for the smaller one. So I'll have to find a good place to put that. But yeah, like I said, I'm just waiting. He should be starting soonish. And I don't want to raid into him before he gets started. 2.1 is current. Yeah, so that's probably the other tall warm thing, aka the the smaller ZeroG Mercury One build that I did that I really, really, really need new panels for. Apparently it's, well, not apparently. I used acrylic and, you know, cleaning build plates and stuff with IPA after a while, it fractures the acrylic, so. Spiders it out. So, okay, Adam, come on. Probably need to refresh it. But I know he's there, so, or not there, but I know he's getting ready to start. As soon as I see him pop up, we will go ahead and get a raid out to him. But yeah, thanks for coming out and hanging out with me, guys. This is going to be a fun build. This really is. It's a beast, and moving it around is going to be fun. We may have to move Riff out for a little while if we're going to be working on this and maybe figure out some type of smaller table that we can put this on and work on it right here versus up here where I stand a chance of hitting the camera all the time and knocking stuff off. So this may actually be a floor build right here in the middle of the floor. I'll just have to go find maybe an IKEA lack or something that I can slap a piece of plywood on and move it around. He's live now? Okay, then I will go ahead and get the raid started. And thank you everybody for being here. Come on with me on the jump over to Additive Atom and let's go watch somebody build something small since we've been building something big. Thanks everybody, and I will see you guys next stream, which should be Saturday. So have a great 4th of July, and I will see you on Saturday. Bye now. And for those of you that are sticking around and watch this to the end on YouTube, thank you very much. If you like what you see here, please be sure to subscribe and click the bell down below to be notified of new videos as they come available. If you really like what you see, I do have memberships, so please grab a membership and you'll get some early release of all my videos and stuff. And YouTube should be suggesting a new video right here. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye now.